News in full. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has called on state government to look towards bridging the huge deficit in housing delivery for Nigerians. Osinbajo, while commissioning the phase 1 of the West Link iconic Villa Alakia Ibadan, said Nigeria has 20 million housing deficit, adding that the intervention by Odua Investment Company Limited in conjunction with Chapter 4 Estate Management Limited was a step in the right direction. Fowora Adesonwo was at the commissioning ceremony. His report.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo being received by the chairman and board members Odua Investment Limited to the commissioning of the first phase of the West Link iconic Villa Alakia Ibadan.
This is a project that demonstrates what we as an administration, the federal government, has preached since 2015. It's a project that tells two important stories. One is the story of success of local entrepreneurship and forward-looking development finance. Local entrepreneurship, of course, these are diaspora friends, and forward-looking development finance in the body of the Odua Investment Limited.
At a pre-commissioning ceremony, Vice President Osinbajo had commended the Odua Investment Company Limited and Chapter 4 Estate Management Limited for synergizing to bridge the wide gap in one of the indices for measuring development in the housing sector.
It is the new and greatly improved Odua investment which we see today and which brought the vision of our diaspora investors, Chapter 4 Estate Management Limited, UK, to build what we have here today.
Professor Osinbajo called on the state government to work out the possibilities of providing a one-digit loan facilities to the people towards bridging the huge gap in the housing sector. Chairman Odua Investment Company Limited, Otuba Bimbo Ashiru, revealed how the Vice President Osinbajo had been instrumental to the collaboration between the company and Chapter 4 Estate Management Limited, a UK-based company which is the brain behind the project. Secretary to the Ogun State Government, Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, who represented the Governor of Ogun State, said Ogun State will continue to synergize with companies and individuals towards providing an affordable housing scheme.
This is a very, very good initiative. And if you look at all the states around us, everybody is moving in this direction. Like my sister had said, Lagos State is, of course, doing some trailblazing in that dispensation. But we are seeing also what is happening in Ogun State. And I will say that it's not only at these levels.
The chairman of Chapter 4 Estate Management Limited, Chams Ogumuyiwa, and one of his team members spoke on the next vision.
State governments, they are also, some of them have told us expressly they would like something like this in their state as well. But we can only do it through Odua.
It's a catalyst for stimulating economy, and so developing these mass housing where we can have minimum 10,000 units in one location. Imagine that where you can have a power solution that is purposely built to serve such a large community, which you can use to sort of decongest major cities.
Goodwill messages on how housing delivery have been boosted in Oyo, Osun, Lagos, Ekiti, and Ondo State towards Southwest Nigeria development were brought to the fore by representatives of the Southwest governors at the ceremony. Fowora Adesonwo, OGTV News.
Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has restated his administration's commitment to do all that required to ensure a focused and qualitative governance, especially through adequate security of lives and property. Governor Abiodun stated this while receiving both the new Commissioner of Police in Ogun State, CP Frank Umba, and Brigadier General MT Amino, the brigade commander of the 35 Artillery Brigade, Alamala Barracks, at the Presidential Lodge, Abeokuta. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganio completes the report.
Ogun State Governor Prince Abeokuta officially received the new Commissioner of Police in Ogun State, Frank Umba, and his counterpart, Brigadier General Mohammed Aminu, as the brigade commander of the 35th Artillery Brigade, Alamala Barracks, Abeokuta. While taking them through the Share mantra of his administration, Governor Abeokuta said a lot has been done to strengthen the security apparatus of the state, particularly to drive the socio-economic growth, adding that the state government has taken delivery of drones, which will be used to track criminals perpetrating evil acts. The governor charged the security heads to hit the ground running, especially as the forthcoming general elections draw near.
Ogun State has been largely peaceful. We've campaigned, across the length and breadth of the state in so many local governments. We even had our presidential candidate was here about a week and a half ago. And I make bold to say that despite how intense these campaigns have been, there was no case of somebody even as much as stepping on the toe of another person. So in all the campaigns we've had in the last so many weeks, there's been no case of violence. Talk less of somebody shooting anybody, which was not the case before, I assumed office, which of course I'm sure you all know. We intend, to continue to sustain this. Again, it has to be by a deliberate, cooperative and collaboration between the law enforcement agencies, the politicians, our traditional rulers, the civil society, and all of us, residents and citizens of Ogun State.
The State Commissioner of Police, Frank Umba, and Brigade Commander, 35th Artillery Brigade, Brigadier General Mohammed Aminu, assured the people of the state of continuous support in all ramifications in order to make the state safe for all.
Your Excellency, it is of public knowledge that the elections are around the corner. I want to assure you that Ogun State Police Command, working in conjunction with other stakeholders, will do everything possible to provide a safe and secure environment for your citizens and residents of this state to be able to exercise their franchise without any let or hindrance.
The event was witnessed by the two outgoing service chiefs and members of Executive Council in the state. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, Ogun State new Commissioner of Police, Frank Umba, has assumed office. His predecessor, Larry Bankole, while handing over to him at the State Police Command, Abeokuta, wished him well in his new assignment. Bumi Adigun covered the handing over ceremony and he completes the report.
A new cop is in town. Frank Umba, eloquent orator and the 24th Force Public Relations Officer. He took a salute from the next ranking officers from the State Police Command as they welcomed him to Ileweron in Abeokuta. Umba moved next to meet CP Larry Bankole, who was waiting to hand over to him.
The CP is coming with a wide range of experience, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will acquit himself very well during his tour of duty. I'll be handing over to you a crop of dedicated, loyal, and hard-working officers.
Seated also in the hall were divisional police officers and other senior officers who were on the ground to receive the new boss. Frank Umba is among the 6 other police commissioners newly promoted by the Inspector General of Police. Bumi Adigun, OGTV News.
Away from that now, the Ogun State government is keen on creating a conducive environment for investment, hence the need for prospective investors to open their businesses in the state, assuring them of a flawless collaboration which would enhance their businesses. This was the submission of the Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Kike Lomolunge, during the meeting with Jason Healthcare Limited at Okemoson, Abeokuta. Adirunke Adeyemi has the details.
As part of efforts directed towards building lasting relationship with industries operating in Ogun State, the state government has tailored physical planning as well as provision of relevant infrastructure to meet the needs of existing and potential investors in the state. Against this backdrop, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment held a meeting with Jason Healthcare Limited on ways to build and improve the relationship between them. Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Kikelo Molunge, assured that the state will continue to collaborate with industrialists and domestic entrepreneurs to effect a flawless synergy in development.
Listen to the issues and map out solutions on how to address those issues, because we want them to start their operations as soon as possible, and we want them to be a testament to the fact that Ogun State is ready for business.
Managing Director of the pharmaceutical company appreciated the ministry's effort towards promoting the ease of doing business in the state.
But the good thing about Ogun State is, at any point when we have challenges, we've had people willing to listen to us. We've had people willing to, sit down with us, discuss the issues, and then arrive at solutions.
The commissioner affirmed that this effort will further diversify the state economy and make the state an investment of choice for investors. Adirunke Adeyemi, OGTV News.
The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has declared a state of emergency on bleaching after establishing that Nigeria today has been ranked first in cases of bleaching. Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, raised the alarm on the menace of bleaching creams in Nigeria, saying the problem has become a national emergency that calls for serious attention. She stated this while flagging off a media sensitization workshop on dangers of bleaching creams and regulatory control organized by the Association of Nigerian Health Journalists in Kano on Thursday. She added that 77% of those engaged in bleaching in Nigeria are women, saying this calls for a multifaceted approach in fighting the menace of bleaching creams, which she warned have fatal health hazards. She also explained that in response to these statistics, the federal government, through the Office of the Secretary to the Government, Boss Mustafa, wrote to NAFDAC last year seeking stringent measures to be implemented against the menace. She added that sensitization workshops in the 6 geopolitical zones were part of the measures being taken. Still to come in the news, NUC directs closure of all universities between February 20. Thanks for joining us in part 2 of the news. The commencement date for this year's general elections in Nigeria has been challenged by fears of scarcity of new naira notes, hike in price of fuel, and insecurity in some parts of the country. In the midst of these fears, however, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu reassured Nigerians of the sanctity of the election dates. Margaret Okunlola went to town for people's reactions to these and their readiness to go to the polls on February 25 and March 11. A report.
Following the apprehension caused by the comments of Chairman Board of Electoral Institute, INEC's training arm, Abdullahi Zuru, when he represented Professor Mahmood Yakubu, the Commission's boss in Abuja, at the validation of election security training resources, where he said that the spate of insecurity across the country, particularly in some states, could hinder the declaration of election results and precipitate a constitutional crisis. The comment has been met with mixed reactions from Nigerians, but the chairman of the electoral body, Professor Mahmood Yakub, has assured the nation that the dates fixed for the elections are irrevocable.
And right now, there's a technical committee working. The idea is for them to avail us the use of their over 900 land mega stations as well as floating mega stations nationwide for the purpose of stocking products to ensure that the Commission doesn't suffer any encumbrances in movement of personnel and materials for the election. The second one is the currency issue. And again, we had an engagement yesterday with the governor of the central bank, and he assured us that the Commission will not suffer any encumbrances on that score. Fortunately for us, all our accounts, national and state, are held by the Apex Bank. So We raised those challenges, but we have found a solution to those challenges. So be rest assured that the election will hold as scheduled on the 25th of February for national and on the 11th of March for the state election.
From the legal point of view, the election and its process were products of law, and any change, amendment or postponement must be through a legal process informed by extreme cases of imbalance.
No matter what happened, anything that is being done or being established by the law, especially the constitution of the country, will not or should not be affected by any circumstances. Even if it is going to be postponed, the need is there for the law to come up and say, oh, yes, you can do this.
The only thing that can warrant postponement of the election, if they invoke what we call doctrine of necessity, maybe we are at war. If Nigeria is at war, or there's a major disaster like the one that is going that happened in Turkey and Syria now, major earthquake or major disaster, perhaps there could be postponement. But as it were now in Nigeria, no circumstances warrant the postponement of the election.
Some Nigerians are of the opinion that this development is not totally strange, saying this won't be the first time INEC will shift election, despite giving assurances that the dates were sacrosanct. They, however, urged the Commission not to contemplate or accept any recommendation to postpone the exercise, despite the challenges of naira scarcity, fuel scarcity, or insecurity. They said Nigerians are 100% ready to head to the polls.
Nigerians are fully prepared for general elections. Whether fuel is available, whether money is available, whether whatever is available, Nigerians are fully ready and prepared for election.
As a body, INEC is ready. If INEC is ready and Nigerians are ready, I don't see anything, bringing about a postponement of election.
The Presidential and National Assembly elections hold on the 25th of February, while the governorship and state assembly elections are on the 11th of March 2023. Margaret Okunlola, OGTV News.
The National Universities Commission (NUC) has directed the closure of all universities and inter-university centers between February 22nd and March 14. NUC said there will be no academic activities during the shutdown. The announcement was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy Executive Secretary Administration, Chris Mayaki. According to the statement, the decision followed concerns about the security of staff, students, and the university's properties during the general elections, scheduled from February 25 to March 11. The Commission said the Minister of Education, Malam Adamo, gave the directive following consultations with relevant security agencies. The Nigeria Immigration Service says it has seized a total of 6,216 national identity and voter cards from some migrants in 21 border states across the country. The Comptroller General of NIS, Issa Jere, said this on Wednesday, February 8, at a retreat for top management staff of the service in Abuja. Jere said that 3,823 national identity cards and 2,393 voter cards unlawfully possessed by migrants were confiscated. A total of number of 6,216 PVCs and national ID cards have been intercepted from foreigners during various operations across the country. Jere said that the cards were seized in ongoing operations to ensure that migrants from neighboring countries did not participate in the forthcoming general elections. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the establishment of a Presidential Transition Council to oversee the 2023 transition program. The President also signed the Executive Order number 14 of 2023 on the facilitation and management of presidential transitions. A key feature of the Presidential Executive Order number 14 of 2023 is the institutionalization of a legal framework that would enable a seamless transition of power from one presidential administration to another. In a statement on Thursday by the Director of Information Office of the Secretary General of the Federation, Willie Bassey, said the SGF boss Mustafa was appointed by the President to lead the Council. The Council would be inaugurated by the SGF on Tuesday, February 14, 2023. The National Population Commission will deploy full digital technology for 2023 census in an attempt not only to produce an accurate, reliable, and acceptable data, but provide an inclusive and user-friendly tool that will be used by all segments of the society for development, planning, and critical program intervention. This was while briefing the media at the 24th edition of President Muhammadu Buhari's scorecard series by the chairman of the commission. The 2023 census, if not for nothing, marks a major milestone in the history of the National Population Commission, defied all odds from the COVID pandemic to economic challenges and insecurity. And this is why, when the chairman of the commission stood before the media on conference and assurance of the hard decisions by President Muhammadu Buhari to go ahead with the exercise despite the challenges. A successful exercise to be carried out using full digital technology, accurate, acceptable, and reliable data for global standard is all it could promise Nigerians and those watching.
The counting of every person resident in Nigeria during the census will take place simultaneously in every household in the country.
In a video documentary on the status of preparations for the 2023 population and housing census, the Commission made it clear the methodology and quality of preparations for the census, and with the inauguration of the Population Housing National Census Publicity Committee, Issa Kwara is confident the census will generate evidence-based demographic data for planning and development processes.
To support and take ownership of the process to achieve the desired outcome is imperative, and it hinges absolutely on our ability to speak to our people in the language that will galvanize and mobilize them to participate.
The chairman is assuring men, women, and the international community that the Commission is irrevocably committed to ensuring that everything about the 2023 election, the census, is done rightly and professionally with a clear vision, commitment, and capacity to deliver. Reactions of legal practitioners have been diverse on Supreme Court's judgment halting the federal government from full implementing the February 10 deadline of the old 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes to stop being legal tenders in the country. The ruling has brought a new twist to the controversial issue. Bolaji Sampson spoke with some legal practitioners in Abeokuta. A report.
A 7-member panel led by Justice John Okoro stopped the move of the federal government in the ruling in an ex parte application brought by 3 northern states of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara. Expectedly, there have been reactions of legal practitioners to the ruling. The reactions have come with mixed feelings.
The federal government was not put on notice. So to a very large extent, I feel that that judgment is not, in as much as it is to the effect that Naira should be in circulation, people should be able to settle the matter. But the question you should also ask is, where is the federal government, or where are the governors when students were on strike for 6 months?
And I think the Supreme Court was just and right to have restrained the federal government from banning the old Naira notes in February 10. To give Nigerians more time, because if you look at the past, how did we implement the BVN? Of course, we had a lot of deadlines, but were we able to make those deadlines?
Barrister Kayode Akinshola said the Supreme Court judgment is God-sent rescue for the masses because of the hardship caused by the Naira redesign policy.
The
a step in the right order that the Supreme Court has actually taken. And because when you look at it, the February 10 is not something that is realistic, is anti-people. For example, when you look at the city of Abeokuta, majority of those banks, they are not opening. Yesterday, today, and probably till that 10th. And if the Supreme Court judgment didn't come to 4, some of us that are having these old currencies with us, we should know that it's going to become waste or obsolete.
The issue of the Naira note has generated a lot of fury, a lot of ups and downs. It's capable of truncating our very much cherished democratic process that we are witnessing presently.
As it is, it appears this is a long drama battle between the court and the federal government. The next few days are likely to come with more drama on the issue. Bolaji Samson, OGTV News.
Ogun State government has charged the State Water Corporation to be creative on ways of achieving commercial viability in order to strengthen its operations and make it more efficient in the distribution of water to the nooks and crannies of the state. Speaking during a meeting with officials of the Federal Ministry of Finance and Water Corporation and Project Management Support and the AFD in Abeokuta, the Commissioner for Finance and Chief Economic Advisor to the Governor, Abeokuta, revealed that for it to operate at optimal level, the state's water corporation should adopt cross-subsidization leveraging on the industrial and commercial areas across the state, assuring the corporation of government support.
We need to be very creative as to how we achieve the commercial viability of a very important corporation like Water Corporation. And if I take the lesson from our waste management, one of the things we've done is that we have identified 3 classes of customers in waste management: industrial, commercial, and residential. And I think it's very similar to Water Corporation as well.
Speaking earlier, the team leader, AFD Fami Nesen, expressed satisfaction with the level of implementation of its various intervention and support by the Ogun State Water Corporation as evidenced in solid infrastructure, innovations and personnel, advising the corporation not to lower the standard of implementation as this would determine the level of future support from the agency. In his welcome address, the General Manager, Ogun State Water Corporation, Engineer Oluseyi Maku, appreciated the government and AFD for the collaboration, which he said has enhanced the corporation's capacity, noting that it was working towards achieving a sustainable tariff for water consumers in the state. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 67 new broadcast licenses. This brings the total number of approved broadcast licenses by Buhari to 473, with the number of functional broadcast stations in Nigeria rising to 740. The Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Malam Balarabe Shehu Ilela, disclosed this on Thursday at a briefing in Abuja. Ilela also said the monitoring of broadcast stations was on. He said a central monitoring committee has been set up to provide a rapid response to unethical practices. He also appealed to broadcast stations yet to settle the outstanding dues to do so. The federal government will commence the implementation of its bottom-up cash planning initiative tomorrow. The acting Accountant General of the Federation, Silva Okole Abo, disclosed this at the just concluded sensitization program in Abuja. He said that the initiative was being adopted as one of the best strategies to address cash management challenges of the federal government and as part of its public financial management reforms. He said that the implementation of bottom-up cash planning would bring more certainty to budget execution and engender fiscal discipline. Dominic Agbara is now ready for business news. Stay with us.
Welcome to the business segment of the news. In furtherance of the desire to continually improve the Ogun State internally generated revenue (IGR), as well as adopt a more seamless approach on revenue generation, the State Ministry of Finance and the State Internal Revenue Service (OGIRS) have resolved to engage more stakeholders to achieve better service delivery. The Chief Economic Advisor to the State Governor and Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Abeokuta, said the move became necessary in view of the immense development projects implemented across the state by the Prince Abeokuta-led administration, noting that it was essential to continually work to expand the state's revenue base to pave the way for more people-oriented projects. Okubadejo said the government was committed to provide incentives, empower its workforce, and create an enabling working environment for workers, advising them not to rest on their oars.
And if we truly want to improve the functions of the state, we have to empower our civil servants. We have to provide a conducive environment for them to work. We have to train them such that all of the responsibilities, they can do it seamlessly.
It charged the staffers of OGIRS to engage in robust advocacy on prompt payment of taxes, collaborate with more commercial banks, tap into the immense benefits of co-location of business activities to make tax payment less cumbersome, and key into the Building Our Future Together agenda of government, commending the agency's management for their contributions to the increasing IGR of the state. In his remarks, the chairman, OGIRS, Mr. Olugbenga Olaleye, appreciated the government for its various interventions geared towards enhancing the state's internal revenue generation, saying that the last 3 years had witnessed a steady rise in its revenue drive due to the support accorded to the agency and continuous training of its personnel. The Naira scarcity caused by the Central Bank of Nigeria's Naira redesign and cash withdrawal policy pushed instant electronic payments to 38.77 trillion Naira in January 2023, a 45.52% year-on-year increase from 26.6 trillion Naira as of January 2022. This is according to new data from the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System. In 2022, the CBN announced the Naira redesign policy, withdrawal limits, and encouraged Nigerians to adopt electronic forms of transactions. Since the policy was announced, Nigerians have been subject to long ATM queues, buying of the Naira, failed transactions, and problems with banks' mobile applications. The recorded figure for Nigeria Instant Payment System in January 2023, which is 38.77 trillion Naira, is the highest on record for the month of January on the NIBSS portal. The Naira on Thursday exchanged at 461 Naira to the dollar at the investors and exporters window. The figure represented an appreciation by 0.7% compared to the 461 Naira it exchanged for on Wednesday. The open market indicative rate closed at 461 Naira to the dollar on Thursday. An exchange rate of 462 Naira to the US dollar was the highest rate recorded within the day's trading before it eventually settled at 461 Naira. The Naira sold for as low as 446 Naira to the dollar within the day's trading. A total of $55.52 million was traded at the official investors and exporters window on Thursday. Oil marketers on Thursday said the supply of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, had not yet stabilized, and this was why queues were still prevalent in many parts of Nigeria, aside Abuja, where it had reduced. Reacting to the statement of the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Bele Kyari, that fuel queues would clear in 1 week, the marketers expressed optimism but insisted that it would be tough to enforce the 195 Naira per litre government is approving on all filling stations. This came as the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria revealed on Wednesday that NNPC had promised Ipman that it had set aside about 140 million litres of PMS for members of the association in a bid to address their fuel supply challenges. And finally, on the business segment of the news, the federal government has said that it had no funds to finance the establishment of another agency or agencies in Nigeria, as the ones already in existence were already too many. It disclosed these in Abuja at the ministries, departments and agencies consultation session to review the proposed draft of the Creative Industries Development Bill. The Nigeria Creative Industries Development Bill 2023 seeks to establish a Creative Industries Development Commission and provide an enabling environment for the creative industries in Nigeria and other related matters. Speaking at the consultation session, the Director General Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabweze, said while the government would continue to support the creative industries, it would not support the creation of additional agencies because it lacked the funds for such. And that was the business segment of the news. Many thanks for watching. It's back to Bukola for the rest of the bulletin.